Hey, so here are some signs that you are living in an abundance mindset. What does it look like if you are not stressing over every single ask? You don't need every single donor to say yes. You're not afraid of hearing no. You're not trying to guard yourself against rejection. You know that failure is a part of the process. You're not looking to control every outcome. And I think there's a seven-figure mindset. There's an abundance attitude that you can embody. And here's how you know if you're in that space, if you're in that place mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And the first is here's a sign that you refer donors to other nonprofits. I've done this. I meet with someone, I get a meeting, right? Getting a meeting is super tough sometimes. Get the meeting with someone who obviously knows my organization. They know what we do. They have some kind of familiarity. There's some sort of reason why we're meeting. They came to an event. They've already been a donor. And in the meeting, they tell me, you know what, Julie, I don't really care that much about your cause, whatever that is. Homelessness is not my number one priority. What I really care about is fill in the blank. Saving the whales, higher education, supporting my alma mater, could be any number of causes, right? What I really care about is X. And they'll say this, and I'll say, oh, okay. Would you like my help? Like connecting to organizations like that? Do you already give to organizations like that? This is how you know that you are embodying low pressure, no pressure leadership. And you don't really, like, our big fear, right? And why a lot of people don't ask for more money is because they don't want to appear like they are just out for someone's money. Like, I'm just here because of your wallet. I'm here because you're rich. And you don't want people to feel like that. This is a practical way you can actually be that kind of person who isn't just focused on the money. How do you know? If a donor tells you that your organization is not really their number one thing. You're like, great, well, I actually know an organization that is saving the whales. Do you want me to connect you? I had a donor tell me this, and they're very wealthy. And I would have loved to have had them as a major donor, but they decided not to do that. And they were surprised. They were surprised that I was going to refer them. And then I did. I referred them. 9 months later, they joined the board of that organization that I referred them to. So it was a good match. And then fast forward 2 years, so about 3 years in total from when I had that meeting where I said, hey, I can refer you. Do you want my help? They reached back out to me. Hey, I think my time is done on that board and with that organization. It didn't go bad, but it just wasn't what I was hoping. So, I'd really love to get involved with your nonprofit. And they told me the reason that they wanted to get involved, they've already made it clear that, like, the mission, the cause itself is not their number one thing, right? They made that crystal clear. Got it. But it's the fact that I'm not pressuring them. I actually want to be a partner that is of service and I care about them being able to fulfill their mission, even if it costs me. It's okay, because when more donors are giving, everybody wins. The world gets better. When more people step into generosity, it's a win for everyone, including me, even if my organization is not raising the money. Like, the bigger win is that wealthy people are giving and that they're putting their money where their mouth is, and that we're creating change. We're actually investing in organizations that are creating change. That is the win. And so refer people. If you've never done that, try it out. Reach out to somebody who rejected you and say, "Hey, Tom, I know that you're not interested in our organization. Totally cool. I thought I would just offer a referral. You said that you cared about XYZ thing. Would you like me to make a warm introduction? Would you like me to support you in that?" Because again, philanthropy is the win. And there's plenty for all of us. There's plenty. So I don't need any one person to say yes. Number 2, the second way that you can know if you're in this abundance identity, if you are not stressing about every blessed thing, and you can just be yourself and invite people to join your work and to give, is that you're firing people. You're firing donors. You're firing board members. If you don't like the word fire, that's fine. Release them. Release people from the obligation of giving because they're not aligned with your values. They are not meeting expectations any longer. They are below the standard of your organization. The way that they operate is below the standard. Again, I've done this. I do this in my business. I let go of clients. I say no to opportunities that I know are not aligned. It's okay. And it's not even necessarily from a judgmental place. Like, I don't think that you're somehow below me if we aren't a good fit. We're just not a good fit. Some people they're just not a good fit. That's it. Not because they're bad or wrong or less than. It's just not a good fit. They're going to belong better somewhere else. There's something else better for them, just like there's something better for me. Are you actually firing people? Are there donors that, and practically speaking, maybe you can't afford to fire everybody. That's fine, right? Like, there are people you might have to put up with in the short term. But acknowledge that. And acknowledge the fact that in the long run, this isn't sustainable. We're going to have to let go of this relationship. It's not working. People who are demanding and are wanting an in-depth report for a $10,000 gift. And it's like, look, we just don't do that. We don't do that. We give in-depth reports for gifts that are $100,000 or more. That's how we operate. And frankly, you could just say, hey, these are our standards. And it looks like that's not what you can do right now with your time in terms of being a board member. Or these are our standards for donors. And it seems like that might not be in alignment with you right now. And that's okay. So we're just going to release you from the obligation of fulfilling your pledge. And we wish you the best. So are you actually letting go of people? Are you letting go of prospects? I would say that's number 3. Are you cycling through prospects and donors who have gone radio silent? You've attempted 5 or 6 times to reach out. They've said nothing. They've replied to nothing. They've clicked on nothing. They're just like crickets. Are you letting go of them? Are you hanging on to that gala donor who gave $1,000 at the gala and came for the first time because they were invited by your board member, and you haven't heard from them since the gala, but they had really nice things to say about your nonprofit to your board member, but they have no intention of being a donor for you? Like, they're doing it because their friend invited them. They showed up. They thought, wow, this is a worthy organization. I'm going to give $1,000. They're super rich. And so you're really, you're reluctant to let them go because you know how wealthy they are. And plus, they came to your gala and they said all of these really nice things. Let it go. Are you letting go of donors? Are you letting go of people faster so that you can spend time with the people who are interested, who are enthusiastic, who are in your corner? They want to be more involved. They will do more for you if you pay attention to them, keep them in the loop, engage them, and actually spend your creative juice and your energy on those relationships. Like, are you letting go of people when you need to let go? That's a sign that you're in that abundance place. Number 4, you are thinking about your asks based on your big, audacious vision for impact and based on what you think is both reasonable and challenging for your donor to consider. And it's not about you and what you think is a lot of money. Or, we couldn't possibly ask them to double their gift because they already give $100,000. Like, that's enough. You're in that abundance mindset when you stop budgeting people's philanthropy for them. That ain't your gig. Your gig is to make a bold invitation, to tell the story of your organization, to invite them into your big, audacious vision. Stop saying no for them. I had a donor that was giving through his company $5,000 a month and not giving personally, but he was the sole owner of the company. So in many ways, you could say he's personally giving it. His company was writing the checks. He owns the company, right? It's like, who's giving that gift? And, us philanthropy nerds could debate that in terms of how do you credit, hard credit, soft credit, yada, yada, yada. But that's not the point of this conversation. Had a donor, $5,000 a month through his company, and I had done some research and I had a couple conversations with him. And I could tell that generosity was a big part of his life, that it was really important to him to give money away. And my sense was, and I wasn't sure, but reading the situation and reading the donor, my sense was that his favorite charity was us. His favorite nonprofit was our nonprofit. And so I told my team, I was like, I'm going to ask this guy for $300,000 over the course of 2 years. So 150 and 150. And my CEO at the time was like, this guy doesn't have that money to give. Like, he's not that rich. Like, I don't think that your sniffer is off. And it was a risk I was willing to take. It wasn't a sure thing, but I could tell that he was a generous person and that was part of his identity. And I could tell that our organization, he was totally all in. So I confirmed those things, asked for $300K, and 2 weeks later, he said yes. Now, 5K a month is a really amazing gift. And 300K is quite a big jump from that. So part of how you can know that you're in this abundance attitude is that you're not like, oh, well, 5K a month, what's a good amount from that point? The point of inflection is not necessarily their current giving, even. It's about where is their heart, what is their passion level and alignment, and how generous are they? And making decisions from that place. And then, of course, rooted in the fact that our goals are huge. So we needed to raise $10 million. So it was like, yeah, it makes sense that I would need to ask for $300,000 from one person over the course of 2 years. That is what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the donor's character, and I was thinking about our big, audacious vision, not necessarily the 5K gift a month and, oh, I should just ask for 50% more or 30% more because that's reasonable, because that's not too bold, because that won't offend them, because that's what, the best practice for this this training that I went to, some guru told you that. Honestly, we have to get real about how much money we have to raise and what it's going to cost. And likely, your most passionate donors are giving below their passion level. There is an amount that they would give if we boldly asked. Instead of thinking about what's reasonable and what's not going to offend, like you're not even considering that. You're just thinking, this is a generous person in front of me. We got these big goals. I'm going to go for it. The other part that you can know related to abundance attitude is you're in this free place. And so you can ask donors for feedback. You can ask them what their experience has been. If you screw up, you can acknowledge it in front of them immediately. And you don't have to wait for a complaint for you to have to acknowledge your faults or the areas where you didn't do such a great job. You might have actually dropped the ball. Because you know that people are more forgiving than maybe you think. And that if they're really passionate about your work, if they're really believing in the organization, then one mistake or two mistakes is not going to cause them to leave. They're literally bought in to your mission. They've put money down on this, They've put time and effort and consideration. They've prayed about it. They are bought in. So you can acknowledge your mistakes. You can say, hey, you know what? When I asked you, I felt super awkward. Was it awkward? You can acknowledge these things. Hey, when I asked you for a larger gift, it seemed like you were really uncomfortable. Was that the case? You could just acknowledge these things because you're not performing. You're not trying to get this perfect. You're not trying to be flawless. You're just moving forward and being yourself and learning as you go. You have accepted that you're not going to do this perfectly, and that's okay. You're not here to execute flawlessly. You're not here to get a yes every time. You're here to achieve really big goals, and that's going to require taking big risks. And you acknowledge that risk. You acknowledge that you're going to mess up. You're going to get it wrong. You're going to disappoint some people. And that's okay. You have tolerance for your own journey. You have patience as you grow and evolve and make mistakes. And you ask for feedback so that you can improve. So you're not just acknowledging mistakes, you want to do something about them. And you do it in partnership, in relationship with your donors. You're not waiting and passively expecting other people to take responsibility for you to grow. You are choosing to preempt that and to ask donors for feedback, to ask your boss, to ask your board members for feedback, and then you implement what makes sense to you. You implement where you can sense, okay, this is rooted in some truth because it resonates, because it's part of my own experience, because it's a pattern. Multiple people are telling me this. It's not just one person. And this is an area where I can tell I just need to grow, right? And it's all good. It's all good. You can tell you're in an abundance attitude when you're willing to do the high ROI, the high leverage stuff, and you're not trapped in fight or flight busy mode. Like you're just reactionary. You're responding to emails, you're responding to notifications, you're running out of time. You're like, I just got to get all this busy work done. You know you're in an abundant place when you sit down to your computer, you have intention. You're like, okay, here's my plan. Here's what I'm going to do. And you're not just reacting. You're not just putting out fires. You're not just responsive, but you're operating from a place of intention and being thoughtful and planful. And you're doing stuff that you know is going to help you hit your fundraising goal. You're not doing idle, busy work. You're not browsing stuff or tinkering or, learning something you've already learned. Like you're implementing, you're executing, you're going for it. And it doesn't have to be 8 hours at a time. It could be 1 hour time blocks, but you're doing the highest ROI, the return on investment activities that are going to really help you to reach your goals, right? And you're not like, let me just be productive, but not actually make progress towards raising money. Those are two different things. And when you're coming from an abundant place when you make time for the stuff that it's not necessarily a sure thing, but it is going to help you reach your goals. If it's not helping you reach your goals, you're not wasting your time, right? You could just focus on what you know is going to help you reach your fundraising goals. Another way that you can know you're coming from an abundant place is you talk like yourself. You write like yourself. You are authentic. You're connecting with people and it's not formulaic. It's honest. It's authentic. It's true to you. It's how you actually communicate. You're not trying to be somebody you're not. And because of that, it resonates. Your emails get opened. They get responses. You book meetings. You are in meetings with people and you can feel that you're connecting. Those things are happening. And again, you need emotional intelligence in order to accurately read this stuff. If you have low emotional intelligence, you might think that you're connecting with people when you're not. If you have low emotional intelligence, you might think you're doing a really good job, but your boss might tell you otherwise, right? And you might disagree. And it could be because you have lower emotional intelligence, and that's an area where you need to grow. You're not able to adjust or adapt your communication based on your audience. That's also a lower emotional intelligence challenge that can be totally solved. It can be fixed. You can learn this stuff. Look up the best books on emotional intelligence. There are people who wrote the book on this. It is a skill that you can develop. I have certainly developed it. But you can know that you're in an abundant place when you don't feel the need to be someone else. You can be you. and you can still grow and learn and evolve and implement lessons learned. But you're not trying to be someone else. You're not fake. You don't sound like ChatGPT. You don't sound like a robot. You don't sound like when you're writing emails, you don't sound like you. You got to sound like you and be free to be yourself in doing this work. Otherwise, you are going to feel like an imposter because you're acting like somebody else. You're not acting like you. If how you are in a donor meeting is very different from how you are online, it's a problem. It's a problem. And try to connect how you show up with people when you're actually at coffee. How are you? Are you really warm and personable and kind and curious and interested? And you have great questions? You should talk like that in your emails. Some people are writing super professional emails, but in person, they're really like engaging and friendly. And it just doesn't add up. It doesn't match. When you're in an abundant place, you can talk like you talk, and you're not trying to force results by being somebody else. Because you might think, well, if I'm more professional, I'll get more meetings. I'll raise more money. But the truth is, the more that you resonate with your donors, the more that you connect with them, the more money you'll raise. The more that you actually connect as human beings, the more money you will raise. Part of why I've raised 6- and 7-figure gifts from individuals over my career is because I've connected with them. They've said things to me like, Julie, I can tell you about mistakes I've made in my career or areas where I'm not super proud, and I know you're not judging me. You're such a non-judgmental person. I'm like, yeah, because you know what? I have stuff I'm not proud of. I've done things that I think are stupid, that I regret, that I wish I could take back, right? I know I'm not perfect. Who am I to judge this person? Who am I to say, oh, well, if I was in that position, I would definitely do better than they did. Ugh. How do you know? You're not in that position. And you don't even understand the fullness of what they've been through, right? You still even see just a sliver of their story, just like someone only sees a sliver of your story. How could they possibly judge you, right? So when you connect with people and they know that you're in their corner, and this isn't just about money, right? It's about a mission. And you connect with people because you're on the same mission. No, they're not going to drop what they're doing and come work for your nonprofit full time, but they are going to write a check. That is how they participate in the mission. Why would they do that? Because they're on the same mission. Why would you take the job that you've taken? Because you care about the mission. They do too, but they have a job. They have responsibilities. They have a different calling on their life. Their contribution is to give financially. So, are you free to connect with people? Or do you feel like you are forcing a different voice, showing up as somebody else because you think that you have to, because you think you need to be more buttoned up in front of certain people? No, you don't. The more that I let my own tone and language and personality come through when I'm emailing with donors, the more money I raise. Because this style of no pressure, I'll refer you. If we're not the organization for you, I'll refer you. Like I'm not trying to twist your arm or get you to do something that isn't actually what you're meant to do. And when you live like that, right, it's this low pressure, no pressure. I keep saying low, but it's no pressure. It's no pressure. You don't have to give at all. Like, people don't have to give at all. They do, because they're generous, because they care, but they don't have to do it. So when they experience that, it's really reassuring. It puts people at ease. They feel a sense of peace being with you. They know that you're not just here to make a sale. They can relax. They can let their guard down. They can actually open up to you. This is how I've learned things about people, about my donors, that no other nonprofit learned. Because there's no pressure with me. Yes, I'm very challenging. And if I learn about who you are, I will challenge you to step into that identity in a greater way. For example, if you tell me that generosity is a number one core value for you, I'm not going to forget that. And I'm going to ask you for more because you said that you care about being a generous person. So it's not something that I'm pressuring you to do. I'm just listening, right? So yes, I do challenge people. Yes. But there's not any pressure. I hope that you see the difference. I'm not manipulating. I'm not trying to coerce. I'm not trying to get them to do something that isn't aligned. If I learn that the mission that they're on is something completely unrelated, then I'm going to help them. I'm not going to work for them for free or something, but it's fair to be like, look, I can refer you to this organization. Would you like me to connect you? And make a warm introduction. That doesn't take a bunch of time, but it goes a long way. So are you willing to just connect with people on a human level? And when you do that and you take all of the pressure off of yourself, you really become a standout in your donor's philanthropic portfolio, because it's so exceedingly rare to be no pressure. And when you are, you really stand out. It becomes unforgettable. People remember that about interacting with me when I was representing a nonprofit. They remember that I did not judge them when they told their story. They remember that I was actually here as an equal partner to help them in their mission, whatever that is. I don't need to force something that isn't going to work. If it doesn't work for them, it's not going to work for me. If it doesn't work for me, it likely doesn't work for them. This is what it looks like to have an abundant way of being and to have your own psychology create the type of results that you're hoping for, to reduce the friction, to reduce the ickiness and the feelings of, this is so awkward. Like, just connect with people. If it's awkward, acknowledge it. If there's something that you need to get better at, acknowledge that and ask for help. Healthy people ask for what they need and want. It's not a mystery. They're not passive aggressive. They are clear, and this is how you can really get to the next level, and you're not trying to be somebody else. I'm really not interested in being somebody else. It's so hard and it's exhausting to be someone else, to be fake. Yuck. No, thank you. I'm deeply not interested in that. So I hope that you will take this conversation, that you will step into greater authenticity. I realize that it's scary. I realize that it's a risk. But you will build confidence being more yourself, and you will connect with more donors, who are aligned, and you will raise more money. You can certainly raise a lot of money being someone else. It's just a fast road to burnout and to resentment and bitterness. And that's not the kind of fuel that you want to run on. If you're listening to this, you likely want to be in integrity. You want to be a person, a team player who is authentic. You're showing up as yourself. You're not one way at home and another way at work and another way at church or synagogue and another way with your friends and another way with your family. But you're actually you in how you are at coffee and how you are when you're writing emails. You're you. And that's somebody who can be trusted. That's someone who can be trusted with millions of dollars. Until next time.